So thank you everyone for coming today. This regularly scheduled committee meeting will begin at about 10:15. As soon as we have a quorum on to say, we're going to reach 10:30. It'll start about 10:30 today. And so we will have the meeting. It will start at 10:30. Just want to make sure everybody know. Thank you. Approve the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Moving properly second, moved by Councilmember Westmoreland, second by Councilmember Shook. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The minutes have been approved.
We have one speaker signed up for public comment today, Mr. Ken Roebling. Please.
Morning.
Morning.
I have a question about 24-0-1504. This is a rather large ordinance. It appears that this thing may be worth $120 million. Not sure. The first half listing all the 6 participants for architectural, engineering, design services. This is for services rendered from July 17th this year to July 16th next year. That's $60 million, $10 million apiece for 6 different joint ventures. And then lower down in this thing, it says another $60 million for services next year. Now, shouldn't this be 2 different ordinances and not one? Because there's one for this year and one for next year? And what are you getting for your $120 million? It doesn't exactly spell out. Services is kind of vague. What are they doing for $10 million a piece for 2 years? That's my question. And I also am wondering, is this $60 million a piece each year going to be for homeless shelters? Is this what the mayor was talking about the other day? Or is this just going to go up in smoke? That's my 2 minutes worth. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And that's the only speaker we had today. Mr. Johnson, can you please sound our first reads?
Section F, ordinance for first reading. Item number 124-0-1528, an ordinance by City Utilities Committee to ratify services rendered in connection with agreement listed herein. Annual contract for traveling screen service and repair with Atlas SSI Incorporated beginning August 9th, 2024. To authorize the mayor or his designee to exercise the second renewal option under the agreement on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management for a term of 1 year, retroactively effective from August 9th, 2024 through August 8th, 2025 for time only. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. This takes us to Section G, ordinance for second reading. Item number 224-0-1503. An ordinance by City Utilities Committee to waive Part 2, Chapter 2, Article 10, Division 4 of the Atlanta City Code of Ordinances to ratify services rendered in connection with agreement listed herein. Landfill and airport slope mowing and clearing with Genesis Testing Services Incorporated, and to authorize the mayor or his designee to exercise the first renewal option under the agreement on behalf of the Department of Public Works and the Department of Aviation for a term of 1 year, retroactively effective from September 20th, 2024 through September 19th, 2025, in amount not to exceed $755,000.00. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
So move.
Mr. Chair, would you?
Yeah, anything from the department, I apologize.
Good morning, Chair.
Members of the committee, Melissa Davis, Interim Deputy Commissioner for the Department of Public Works. The purpose of this legislation is to request authorization for the first renewal option under this agreement on behalf of the Department of Public Works and the Department of Aviation for one term, retroactively from September 20th, 2024 through September 19th, 2025. This contract is part of the department's post-closure care to remain in compliance with the State of Georgia Environmental Protection Division. Any questions from the committee?
Anything from my colleagues? Moving properly second, moved by Councilmember Westmoreland, second by Councilmember Shook. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, item number 3 requires a substitute. It changes the caption. May we bring forth a substitute?
Properly second, please open the vote. Moved by myself, second by Councilmember Shook.
Vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The substitute is before you. The substitute increases the dollar amount to $15 million. Item number 3, 24-0-1504, a substitute ordinance by City Utilities Committee, an ordinance waiving Part 2, Chapter 2, Article 10, Division 4 of the Atlanta City Code of Ordinances, authorizing the mayor or his designee to ratify services rendered in connection with each of the 6 agreements listed herein under RFPS 1200311, beginning July 17, 2024, through the execution of the first renewal option, and to authorize the mayor or his designee to execute the first renewal option under the agreement on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management for a term of 1 year, retroactively effective from July 17, 2024 through July 16, 2025, an amount for each agreement not to exceed $15 million to provide professional architectural, engineering, design, and construction management services on a task order basis for capital improvement plan projects, to allocate funding to a joint task order fund in amount not to exceed $15 million for the use under 6 agreements for RFPS 1200311, All contract will be charged to and paid from the fund department, organization, and accounts numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
And anything from the department?
Morning, Chairman Lewis and council members. My name is Yolanda Broom. I'm the interim Deputy Commissioner for Administration for the DWM. And so I just wanted to clarify that the $15 million is actually for all 6 A&E agreements. And these agreements are to provide support for the $1.3 billion capital program. So those 6 vendors will be providing architectural, engineering, design, and construction management services.
Councilmember Westmoreland.
Thank you for the clarification. Can you speak to the increase from 10 to 15?
So if you look back over the contract, Councilman Westmoreland, the original 3-year term, the first year was $5 million, then the second year was 12, the third was 8. Then this is the first renewal, and so what we've seen is an opportunity to actually increase all of the different projects that we're able to get done under CIP. And so as we increase those projects, we need the design and the construction management help.
Thank you.
Councilmember Shook.
Please explain the retroactivity.
This contract actually ended on the first 3-year term ended on July 15th of this year. We started on it in January of 2024, but with the change in our leadership, we just did not get it done, Councilmember Shook.
All right, appreciate the candor. So just to clarify, this is for work that will be done exclusively within the water wastewater system.
Yes, sir.
And then I know from time to time, depending on changeover and watershed administration, sometimes the process can change in terms of how work is divvied up and parceled out among the A&Es. So could you tell us what the current thinking is?
Yes, sir. So currently we have a project review committee that looks at all of the different task orders and scopes of works I think it's a 6-member committee. They review those requests and vote on them. Then those that are approved from that PRC committee move up to the executive committee, and the executive committee, including our commissioner, review all of those requests and determine which projects have priority and which will be moving forward.
And has it been that way for a while now?
I've only been here about a year and a half,
Okay.
so I'm sorry I can't speak to that.
That's fair. How much, if at all, is this increase driven by inflation pressures of the last several years?
Not only inflation, Councilmember Shook, but also disruptions in the supply chain. What we've just learned is the before COVID pricing for supplies and for labor are never going back to pre-COVID. And so we're just looking at expenses all the way around, from supplies to labor.
All right, well, that's troubling. All right, thank you. I have nothing else. I'll move approval on substitute.
Been moving properly second. Mr. Johnson, please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable on substitute. Mr. Chair, the department requests to take item number 10, since this is the companion paper for item number 3. This requires a substitute, Madam.
It's been moving properly second. Please bring it forward. Or please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The substitute is before you. The substitute increases the dollar amount to $15 million. Item number 10, 2040-1462, a substitute ordinance by City Utilities Committee, an ordinance authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to amend the FY 2025 Water and Wastewater Renewal and Extension Fund budget in the amount of $15 million, transfer funds from watershed reserves for appropriations and add funds to the CIP A&E projects and for other purposes.
Anything from do my colleagues need to hear anything from the department? So, moving properly second, move approve on substitute by Councilmember Westmoreland, second by myself. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable on substitute. This takes us to our last item on the agenda, item number 9, 2040-1442. An ordinance by Councilmember Michael Julian Bond authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to amend the FY 2025 Water and Wastewater Renewal and Extension Fund budget in an amount of $5,500,000.00 to transfer funds from watershed reserves for appropriations and add funds to the small meter installation project and for other purposes.
Anything from the department?
Yes, good morning, Chairman Lewis, members of City Council. I'm Deputy Commissioner Hugh Smith, Office of Customer Care and Billing Services in the Department of Watershed Management. The purpose of this legislation is to amend FY 2025 water and wastewater budget in an amount of $5.5 million for the installation of small water meters and other purposes. The small meter installation project provides construction-related services for the installation of new small water meters and associated appurtenances in newly developed areas. These funds also cover construction costs related to required relocation of existing small water meters. These funds will be transferred from watershed reserves, and this concludes my remarks. Happy to address any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We have a question from Councilmember Shook.
Sure.
So are these new meters of the sort of new and improved type that we're going to be transitioning to, or are they the current?
Councilman Shook, I wish they were. We're fastly trying to get into the AMI platform, but no, sir, these are the current style of meters that we have.
Okay, and then what is currently the weight for a small residential meter?
It depends. At one point in time, we did have a significant backlog, if that's what you're speaking to. I don't know if you're aware, we had a situation where we did not have an installer. And these are primarily services that are contracted out, but I'm happy to report this morning that we are caught up. Typically, we're looking at if from the time that the permit is issued or the deposit is paid, we can do it as quickly as 2 weeks, but prior to that, it was significantly longer.
Yep.
Much longer, sir.
There was. All right,
Yep.
Thank you. I'll move approval.
Second, moving properly second, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The item is favorable. Mr. Chair, that concludes our legislative items on the agenda today.
Thank you. We do have an announcement, general remark, and the general remark is that the council members are making their appointments to fill the vacancies on the Watershed Appeals Board. So the Watershed Appeals Board will begin meeting as soon as we finish the appointments. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.